Yeah, Black Men Unplugged.
Hey, what's good, family? Welcome back to Black Men Unplugged, on where we keep it real, unfiltered, and unapologetic. It's your host, Jay Jack. We tapped in today. I got my brothers with me, Deen, Jay, and tonight we bringing y'all a real one. This conversation right here is about pressure, pain, growth, and what it takes to really change your life. We got a solid brother in the building, someone who done lived it, did time, that came out, changed his life, and bigger and better in these streets, from the streets to the
Welcome.
system to stepping into purpose. You know what I'm saying? So I want y'all to welcome Keyone, Mr. Keyone Walker, to the show. You know what I'm saying, bro? Welcome,
Yes,
welcome,
sir.
welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Black
Welcome,
Men
brother.
Unplugged, brother. Episode 4. And this all about you, brother. We want to hear your story. We want to know where you come from. We want to know, how what that mental like. You know what I'm saying? What made
Yeah,
you feel me? So, like I said, before we kick this off, brother, we got questions. You know what I'm saying? And we want to know some good stuff. So just take us back, bro. Like, what was life growing up for you? You know what I'm saying? What shaped you into the man that you are today? And who is Keyone Walker? Where you come from?
first, I want to start off by saying, Dean and Dawg, it's nice to meet y'all, bro. You heard me? So I'm welcoming myself into the family when it comes to y'all and us as a collective as a whole. But the thing, I grew up with my mom, my other 6 siblings. I have triplet siblings. I have a twin sister. She passed away. I grew up without my dad, and I never met him. So when I hear people talk about their dad, like I try to go back in my mind and, try to come up with a memory. I don't even have a memory. But he since then, he passed away.
Rest
I
in peace,
didn't
Bob.
feel no emotions or nothing. So it was just me, my siblings, and my mom. My mom did have um a boyfriend with her. His name was Ernest, and he had been in our life, for some years. I do know for sure that, respectfully, he just wasn't that father figure, that I needed. And, I think the proof was in, me and my siblings. We never called him dad. We always called him by his first name. So I never had the opportunity to grow up with my dad or any other father figure for that matter, except for the ones who I looked up to, in the streets. My mom, she worked like 2 or 3 jobs at a time. She got tired of that. She started hustling. She was in a drug game. People came in on us, after 6 years of my mom doing that. People came in on us, kicked the door in, laid all us down. Me and my mom went to jail that day because I ended up taking a charge for it. She didn't want me to, but, I ended up taking a charge for it. They tried to give my mom like 20 years.
Wait.
I
Back
took
up,
the
back up.
charge.
Wait, time out. Back up. Wait, what's that?
Yeah.
Say that story again.
My mom, she worked like 2 or 3 jobs at a time, till she seen like the ends wasn't, coming together.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom, she jumped in the game. She was selling drugs and stuff, but she did it for 6 years before she even got caught. And when the people came in, they had guns pulled on us, and they grabbed my mom, slammed her on the floor, handcuffed her. They had her while they had us on the floor. I was telling them that that's not my mama drugs, that's mine. And one of the officers said, "Well, if it's not hers and it's yours, then what was she doing with it?" And I said, "Man, she saw y'all coming and she tried to get rid of it, trying to protect me. But I'm telling y'all, that's not for her, that's mine." And I just felt the need, even though my mom didn't want me to do that, I just felt the need that I had to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because if my mom went to jail for 20 years, who would be there for me and my siblings? Like, we would just be in the system, spread out, not even get a chance to grow up with each other, even know each other. I did it for that reason, along with a lot of other reasons, because my mom sacrificed her life to make sure we were straight. Somebody have to sacrifice theirs to make sure she good.
For sure, for sure.
So that's what I did.
For sure, I feel that. Say, at what point did you realize the environment around you can either break you or build you up? Like, what was that? What was
Um,
that epiphany that you had? Where it was like, you know what, my environment is either gonna make me go left or right. You know what I'm saying? Based on the things that you, if we talk about your childhood, like at that point
mhm.
when you had to make that decision to go left or right, like what was it? What was it about your environment that made you make the decisions that you made?
Most definitely, Poverty, like I said, growing up without my dad, not knowing who he was, like we mentioned before, when it comes to pressure, either it'll bust your pipes or it'll create diamonds.
Mhm.
And I think that epiphany came to me when I was 7 years old. That's when I really discovered my gift as an artist, painting and, drawing and stuff like that.
Especially coming
Once
from
I
New Orleans.
found out, yeah, especially coming from New Orleans, so once I seen that, like, I had this gift, and the reason why I call it a gift is because I understand that it was something special that was given to me, in that regard when it comes to art. I know it's a lot of people that know how to draw, a lot of people know how to paint and everything like that, but I get my ideas and my visions, I get everything straight from the source. And it's kind of hard to, explain, but I think that epiphany came in. Like I was like, I'm like, man, I have this power. I called it a superpower.
Mhm.
When I was young, I said, man, I have this superpower. I could draw anything that comes to my mind or whatever I see. I'm like, God gave me a superpower. And I always used to hear this voice in my head, that told me like this is who you're gonna be. Like this is what I need you to do, and always remember that your gift is not for you alone, but it's for other people. And, since then, I've been using my gift to kind of give advice, kind
Mhm.
of, give wisdom, give, whatever to people who need that light to kind of walk through the darkness in this world, bro. So
Right.
it's my art.
So when the situation with your mom is what threw you off?
Mhm.
Is what, like, threw you off track that sent you upstate? That's like
Yeah,
that
it
stopped
did.
everything, like, your dreams and all that just stopped right in that, like, due to the environment
Yeah.
you was in?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That pretty much stopped everything. Once that happened, that happened when I was 15. I came home when I was 17. I stayed home for 2 years and I was 19 years old, man, and when I went back to prison, but it was the big boy prison this time, Louisiana State, Angola.
What was the mental process of that? Like,
The mental process of that,
where was your mental?
that
Like, before you got caught, what was the mentality that you was out here moving the way you was moving, taking these penitentiary chances? What was the reason? What was your train of thought? Like, what was your reasoning that you told yourself, like, this is the right way to go?
Well, first of all, I know that it's cliche, but I went to prison for something that my cousin did. My cousin, he wasn't man enough to take his charge, man. So, he put it on me. He put it on my little brother when it was actually him and one of my other cousins. And I went to prison for that at 19. I didn't see the streets again until I was 37.
Damn. What?
Yeah.
Damn,
So
man.
without giving case files, what was the charge? Like, what was the charge?
It was armed robbery. It was an armed robbery charge. My cousin, he decided he wanted to go and do some other things. He got caught up and he gave the people my name and I didn't even know. So I got pulled
Wait, you
over by
wasn't
the
even there?
cops. No, I wasn't there. I didn't know nothing. And my little brother didn't know nothing either. It was me and my little brother.
No, no, I'm serious.
And, yeah, and what happened with that was they filed a motion to sever us from one another, trying to get us to flip, but me and my little brother didn't know nothing about what they were saying we did. And so, once they railroad me as a result of the motion to sever us from one another, I went straight to Angola, bro. I went straight to prison. When I went there, I was in the law library every day. And I was telling my little brother, man, just tell the people you want your brother to come back and help you out, testify for you, take the stand. So that's what I was doing. And I threw a monkey wrench in the state's case against my little brother because, we was in there bad. And so as a result of that, my little brother had 3 mistrials. I had an opportunity to talk to his attorney, which was state appointed, obviously. But I talked to him and I'm like, man, my little brother deserve he deserved to go home. He done had 3 mistrials. What more y'all need to prove? And after talking to his attorney talked to the district attorney. and the district attorney went and talked to the judge, and they cut my little brother loose. And so I did all the time on my own.
Say, bro, your mental had to be gone, bro. You had to be shot when you know what I'm saying? Like,
Man,
Yeah, it
that's
was.
what I'm thinking.
It was
Deen,
gone.
my people did this to me. We were just talking about this on the last episode, fool, and I
Yeah.
just said
Yeah,
I ain't going to
Yeah.
jail for no nigga. I am saying I'm snitching.
yeah, I think
Hey, King,
Right.
come take your lick, King.
But I do have a question because I'm very interested, right? I'm very intrigued.
Mhm.
Once everything was all said and done, everything is you know in your mind, you know that man, I'm going to prison, bruh. They done gave me this time. I'm in here like I have to go here now. You know you jump, it's like in the movies, you sitting on that bus and you get bust out, and once you get off, man, you realize you shackled up and you realize you're here now. When you arrived, what was your mental state once you arrived? Like, how did you process everything?
To be honest with you, when I first made it, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to expect. I had some fear, but it wasn't a fear of, like, I'ma just like lay down and just let somebody do me anything, bro. But it was that fear of not knowing what to expect. My first couple of years, maybe like my first 2 or 3 years, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. I didn't even have no mental. Like I was crashing out. I was fighting the officers. I was getting jumped on by the tactical unit. Now I had my ribs broke, you know,
You say you
dislocated
was
shoulder.
19 when you going through all this?
Yeah, I was at the time, yeah, I was 20 by this time. And when from 20 to 23 years old, I took myself through the ringer because I didn't know how to process what I was going through, my mental or any of that. So it was kind of like this negative entity just took over and it was like giving up. I'm gonna just say that it was like giving up.
Did you
Knowing
did
that
you
my
have to go into
cousin, like,
survival mode with that?
well, yeah, of course. And I think that's what my irrational actions, was about, getting into it with the officers and I'm getting into it with the inmates and I'm like, anybody tell me anything, I'm not playing with you. I was like on that type of time, but that wasn't even who I was. It wasn't even who I was. And once I seen that I had become this person and I come to the realization that this wasn't the person that I wanted to be, I think that the thing that helped me out to kind of like start all over again is I had to let go of everything that I was trying to hold on to that I knew wasn't gonna be there for me or didn't love me no more because I was gone. So I had to let go. I had to let go of I had to let go of the entire outside world. And I just had to focus on myself.
Sorry. Nah, you good, brother. That's a lot of that's a lot of trauma to be going through all at 18, 19, 20
Definitely.
years old. You know what I'm saying? Like you really
Yeah.
didn't even really get to start your life yet. You really didn't even get to see what the world really has in store for you on a positive side because it's from the beginning it sounded like it was just living in chaos and in survival mode. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So did you graduate high
Yeah.
school?
I never even made it to high school, bro.
So what was the last grade that you completed?
The first semester of the 7th grade.
The first semester of the 7th grade. And then
Yeah.
you what, popped out to the streets after that? Or was that going through?
I I was already in the streets. Well, I was in the streets already because, like I said, my mom had jumped in the street. I was like 9, 10 years old. While my mom was doing her thing, I had to take care of the house. I had to look after my siblings. Um, make sure they ate, make sure they had what they needed. While my mom was out doing her thing, and it was kind of like I was my mom's right hand man. Her wingman.
At an early age.
So yeah, at an early age. Yeah.
So if you was um speaking, bro, like you got kids. I know your kids, I love your kids.
Hmm.
What's that? What do you tell somebody about the life, the everyday, the day-to-day lifestyle side behind those walls, inside of prison? You know what I'm saying? To keep them from making the stupidest decisions to be back there. You know what I'm saying? For views, for clicks,
Hmm.
saying peer pressure, whatever it is. Coming from somebody that been through as much as you've been through at a young age from the city of New Orleans, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with everything that you got to deal with that. and to do that shit behind a wall when every day you fight for your life, you fight for your peace and your sanity. You know what I'm saying? So like, how would that look? What would you tell them to prevent them from going behind them walls?
Well, if people say that experience is the best teacher, then the only way for them to really find out is to go behind those walls. But to keep somebody from going behind those, to keep them from going, behind those walls, like I said, you have to let go. Like any and everything that you even thought that existed, before you even made it there, you have to let it go. I was holding on to things and people, that I knew wasn't going to be there for me or even, do anything for me or love me through this journey. The entire process of just letting go. A lot of people don't know how to let go, or especially when the negative the negativity is like sitting right there in your face. They won't let go. They would try to hold on, in fear of not having nothing or nobody at all.
Uh-huh.
Once I gave everything up, it was just me and the higher power, man, and everything that entity told me to do, that's what I did. And that's how I regained my freedom. And the one thing that I learned that I went in there with is that I'm not living by the prison rules, because once you attach yourself to prison rules, then you become a part of their corporation. And I didn't live by the prison rules. Now, I didn't gamble, I didn't mess with homosexuals, I didn't do none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't live by the prison rules, in which that's where the peer pressure comes in at. Because they feel like, if somebody come mess with you or take something from you, you got to show them you big and bad and nobody won't mess with you no more. Yeah. So, but, I had a couple of incidents, in there, and it came from the same people that was from where I was from. They wanted to see me fall. And I couldn't even understand why, but it was this I never forget, he a good friend of mine, his name Arthur Rhodes, and he had been a pastor and a preacher up there, for so many years, but he finally regained his freedom. But Mr. Arthur Rhodes told me, he said, man, he said, Keyone, he said, bro, he said, man, you have a certain aura about yourself. And he said the demons don't like it. So them demons gonna do any and everything to try and destroy you. They gonna try to get you to make your own decision. They're gonna put you in a position to make your own decision, because he can't make that decision for you. And when he told me that, that kind of gave me a spark and an idea, on how to move, throughout those prison walls. And, by me doing that, I gave 30 years back. I gave 30 years back.
You ain't
They
let
gave me 50, but I gave 30 back.
you ain't let a nigga take your cornbread, huh? What you telling me?
No, I ain't let him take it. I gave it to him.
Wait, what?
This dude,
Pause.
Jay.
What?
I gave him my cornbread.
Bro, you
Yep.
better start giving
I
people
say,
your
you know what?
cornbread, boy.
I say, you know what, man? I say, you can have this cornbread, bro. I say,
Uh,
I'm not gonna even eat this cornbread, bro. You can have it.
told you about this.
And guess what? And guess what?
This dude's
Guess
stupid.
what? Look, the same dude who I gave my cornbread to thought he was, he's still up there collecting cornbread.
That nigga stupid. I feel that though. Shit, you at home.
Man.
That's a real ass statement.
Yeah.
That's a real statement. So look,
So,
so after the prison, after you did your bid, right? You did your bid. You came.
mhm.
When you came home, like when they told you you had a release date, what was the feeling? What was the emotion? What was the process of getting ready to get back into this world at 30? After 30, it's crazy. That's a
Well,
nuts.
let me tell you, bruh. Let me tell you, man. I went through this situation where I ended up fighting this officer, and this dude built a beef with me because his girl worked there too, and she was an officer, but and her kind of, we connected, and the word got back out to him, and so he made it his business to have his girl move from the blocks where I was, and he put
Hot
himself
dick
over there.
ass nigga.
And so he started harassing me, man. And he went too far one day, and I just had to get off on him, bruh, and I did. and I went to Camp J. No, well, Camp J is an extended lockdown, 23 hours and 45 minutes a day you in the cell. You only get 15 to take a shower, and the shower is in the cell. So technically, you in that bit 24 hours a day. Yeah. I went back there. I did 2 years. Every day of those 2 years that I was back there, I was working on my case. I had to deal with crazy berserk ass dudes back there, want to build cases on you and throw shit on you and throw piss on you and shit, trying to get you to stay back there longer. But I made it through all of that, man, because I was staying focused on my case because I knew what God had for me. And I gave my time back. I gave 30 years back, bro, with no attorney, let alone a state appointed attorney. And I gave all my time back while sitting back there in those cells. And well, like I say, man, if I had to tell anybody anything, like when it comes to that prison life, bruh, everything really just depends on your mindset. Are you gonna just lay down and just allow prison to be your fate, or are you gonna stand up and fight back? It don't even matter if you done it or not. You know what I'm saying? But just are you gonna just lay there and just let people just do you anything?
How do they tell you
I
your
I
date?
was, huh?
How do they tell you your date? When they be like, hey,
Nah.
like,
Nah.
you
What
going
happened
home?
was no. I went to trial, got found guilty. I went on appeal, then direct appeal, and then post conviction, and then habeas corpus. So what happened was I exhausted all of my remedies because I was allowing other people to work on my case for me and I wasn't putting the work in. So the first time I started putting the work in and started looking up different cases and I started studying, and that's when I found a loophole in my case. And everything, it was so simple, because I see people on different social media platforms talk about how broken the system is, man, and how everything is ran by words. So, I studied their language, and once I learned their language, what I'm saying, I was able to communicate with them. And once I was able to communicate with them, I was able to convince them that, this wasn't right. And they sent me a letter in the mail and I was still at Camp J. And when I got that letter in the mail and they said that my sentence has been
Terminated?
put to the side, it's been granted, in part. So what they did was they corrected my sentence and I gave 30 years back. So at that point, I was like, man, shoot, I didn't came this far. I've been listening to this higher power's voice in my head, and he hadn't led me wrong yet. So I'm about to keep listening. And I kept listening. They ended up moving me from Angola to Rayburn. I went to Rayburn. I established myself as a mentor for the youngsters that was coming in there. I was talking to them and I was even helping some of them go home, Some of them had armed robbery cases, murder charges and stuff like that. And, I understood the language of the law and I was helping them. I wasn't charging them or none of that. I was just helping them,
How long
and
it
them,
took you to get actually understand that? Like, was somebody in there helping you learn that shit, or you just had to learn it on the fly? Because you ain't had Google, you ain't had
nah,
Chat GPT or none of that. So like,
I had to learn it on the fly. I had to get paperwork, books, stuff like that from the law library. I had to actually get in there and study. Like I had to put the work in. So, it's not like just skipping scenes or skipping steps, going straight to Chat GPT. I had to really put the work in, hours, mornings, nights, all day. I had to get it. And my hunger, just my hunger for learning criminal law, what I'm saying, helped me get my time back and it helped me receive an earlier sentence.
that's what's up.
I mean, an earlier release date.
That's what's up, man. So you talking about like now we transitioning into we stepping out this thing. You walking out these gates for the first
hmm
time in 30 years. The first thing you even did got a hook. The people won't know. You ain't paid for it. You ain't paid that $40.
Yes, man.
I just tell a nigga, dog. You ain't paid that far out the gate, bro. Like unless you had something lined up already. It was already there for you.
Man.
I didn't have to, Brad. I have the person that's my wife right now. She was there for me.
Political. Political asshole niggas. That's a
Nah,
political
I'm
ass.
serious.
Nah.
I'm
I'm
serious.
bullshit. I'm
I'm
bullshit.
serious. I'm serious. The person that's my wife right now, bruh, Jai, that's my wife. You heard me? She was there. Like she was there the whole way through, man. Even with her having and going through different things in her life, You know what I'm saying? She always wrote me. She found a way to come see me, keep me updated with her life. Well, she didn't know nothing about what was going on with me, but she always contacted me, wrote me, or put money on the phone for me to call. And when I told her the news, she was like, "Damn, I did not know that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm about to get out of here." You know, but even still before then, she was there. And the mentors program helped me make it to work release. And so when I made it to work release, that's when everything really started opening up for me.
Uh-huh. That's what's
But I
up.
didn't pay the
So
$40 though. I didn't pay the
Yeah, no, no,
$40.
I'm glad you ain't paid the 40, not in New Orleans. That's on shelf, ain't
this
it?
man been clear
That's
Florida.
right there on shelf,
Man,
man.
so stupid. So to bring it back a little bit, right?
Mhm.
Because I think this is something that's extremely important. Do you remember a specific time and point while being incarcerated where you thought to yourself, you know what? This ain't it. I'm not just gonna lay down and take this. I'm not gonna let them do whatever they want to do to me. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I know I'm innocent, whether it be, the time when taking the charges for your mom or even, for your cousin. Do you remember any specific time when you say, you know what? I'm not gonna do this. I know I've been wilding out in here a little bit, but yeah, you know what? Let me change me up, and I'm not going for this no more.
Yeah, that breaking point was when I got into it with this officer and the tactical unit, they came in, they're all white boys, of course. A lot of them like 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", they real big. They have all of these, all this gear on and shock shields and helmets. And they came in, man, and they put a pretty good beating on me because I had jumped on one of their officers. And after that, and this was before the officer that I jumped on, or me and him got into it, and I went to jail to get my time back. It was before this, and I'm like, man, them people almost killed me in that cell. Like they beat me, they broke my ribs. I had knots and everything all on my head, and they dislocated my shoulder. And I've known, a lot of guys that like I knew personally, like they died up there, as a result of the, tactical unit. Once I seen that, I'm like, like, man, these people not playing, and I can't keep playing either, with my life like this. So I'm already in their hands, and I'm just really just giving them my life. Here, take it. I don't want it. Here, you can have it. So it was at that point, that I was like, you know what? Like I really need the streets when I started hitting them books. The incident with the last officer, that just made me go even harder, to lock all the way in because that situation wasn't supposed to happen, but I let it get the best of me. And I was like, you know what? This is the last time, devil, that I'm gonna let you get me like this. So I pretty much just locked in. I didn't live by the prison rules. I lived by the rules that God was giving me.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And then when you came home, you got
Yeah,
you
she
got
was.
Jahir waiting on you at the gates. You flat broke. You flat broke. You ain't got nowhere to go. There's no where is the mental at that point? Like right at that moment when you cross that from the inside to the outside,
Mhm.
like in the little split 5-minute window. Like what was that? What was that mental? What was that emotional state? You know what I'm saying? What was that after giving these people
Right,
30? You know what I'm saying? Not in just no regular ass jail. You
right,
talking about
right.
Angola. You know what I'm saying? This ain't ones from Louisiana knew what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the jungle of all jungle.
Yeah,
Ain't
for
nobody
real.
trying to go to Angola for nothing. You understand? Like I don't
At
even know.
all.
So like, what was that feeling, bro? Like what as a man, like as a man that your majority of your life has been snatched from you, fool. Like, and for something that you didn't even do. You know what I'm saying? Like I could see if it's something that you
Right,
did, but a nigga put something on you. You know what I'm saying? A nigga put a case on you, and you didn't have the funds to fight it how you would want it, how you would want to. What would that mental like? That this my I'm crossing this
Well,
threshold
my mentor at
back
that
into the
time,
civilian world.
God had been working on me so much, bruh, to the point where I wasn't even concerned about the outside world, like how most people would be. I was just ready for my next journey because you know, God gave me so many different visions, so many different, you know, things to do, you know, and it's like I know the mission that I'm on. I know the mission that I'm on. And you know, I lost my way a little since then, but you know, I'm still on track though. You know, I deal with a lot of different things, you know, as a result of the prison life, you know, but I don't allow my trauma to be the leader of my journey. You know what I'm saying? You know, we could take different emotions and we could put it in front of us and that could be the forefront of our characters, you know, and you know, it'll determine where we going. So I try to keep a clear head, and the thing that helps me keep a clear head, you know, is my wife, my children, you know, and my grandkids. You know, they help me, you know, stay focused. They get on my nerves, you know, they help me stay focused. You know, I could get over my nerves, but you know, it's hard to get over, you know, mental instability.
So as a
Mhm.
formal, how you say it, formal street dude, formal
Mhm.
person that dibbled and dabbled before you got sent upstate. We in 2026 now. How did that, all of that you went through, how does that affect your mental as that
Um,
father, as that grandfather, as that husband today? You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean like just in the present moment, like the journey, you know what I'm saying, the work through of the darkness, you know what I'm saying, of the mental days, the days that you felt like giving up, you know what I'm saying? That journey right there, bro. I feel for you, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. I really do. 30 years is fucking crazy, my nigga. I can't even stop thinking about that shit. Like niggas telling me 30 years for somebody else. And I had just posted, we just finished another episode and we had made some clips. And in one of the clips I said, bro, I'm not going to jail for no nigga. I don't give a fuck who it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not about to just call and say, oh, you know what I'm saying? They done did something and I'm about to go to, no, son. You know, I promise you, I'm going to be right there in the courthouse, right hand up. I'm bringing them people
right.
to your door, bro. You're not about to take me from my kids, especially if I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I wasn't part of this story, bro, like
Now,
I'm like your boy for
then get me
all the
out the
boys in the
car.
hood, bro.
But you know what though?
Let me out the car, bro.
But you know what though? Because at that
Let me out.
time,
You know what I'm saying?
because I didn't know nothing, it was hard for me to defend myself because I didn't know, you know. But once I found out everything and they sent me, you know,
Yeah.
upstate and I started doing my homework, that's when I was able to understand, you know, what was going on and I was able to help my little brother go home
So you ain't find
till
out
I
this
went to
fool snitched
trial.
on you till you was already gone. So it came out
Yeah,
in court that
he
your
came,
cousin
he walked through the doors.
snitched on
He came as a witness for
set
the
you up.
state. It was a surprise
Yeah, they would have had to
Yeah.
catch me because I'm jumping over that banister, dog. You gonna have to see me. You gonna have to see me, pimp.
for the
No,
state.
so you
But
came
he
as
did
a
that he
witness
did
for the
that
state.
to get a lesser sentence for other armed robberies that he did. So he took a deal.
And this the type of shit this is the type of shit I be wanting to speak to these to everybody that people that I
Mhm.
know that grew up in the streets,
Gli
but like
devono
these
solo
kids of these
massiccia, vedi,
days,
non
bro,
so.
that really feel like they gotta be
Right.
loyal to another nigga to a fault where you put your own life on the line. You know what I'm saying? The fact that
My first cousin.
You gotta eat
this is
dinner,
your
bud.
blood. You feel me? This your blood and your blood chose to throw you under the bus so he won't take a lick.
Right.
Now, your mom, I understand. All right, that's cool.
That's right.
You had to do what you had to do for
That's
your mom
right.
to get mom out of sticky situation. Now we can move around. That's cool. My cousin just throwing me into
Yep.
some shit, and then I don't find out until we get to court, and then you a witness, boy. Yeah, when I get out, I'm going back
And
because me and you
listen,
about to see
and
you.
listen.
And
You
listen,
gonna have
it's
to see
crazy,
me,
man,
son. Like 30
because
years
the
is
things
nuts,
that
bro.
God put on my heart while I was in there, right? When you know, since I've been following God's voice, you know, it wasn't even about if whether or not I done it. To me, what I got out of all of it was that I was supposed to go through that. So God could shape me into the person that he needed me to be, bruh. And this some real stuff. I had to go through that. And this why it was so easy for me to forgive my cousin, man, because it ain't even about you. The whole situation wasn't about him. It was about me. It was about God working on me. It was about God giving me the knowledge and the wisdom that I needed so I could make it to the next level and to help the people that he asked me to help. You know, so that was my mindset. Like that's my mindset like the whole way through. which is part of one of the main reasons why I got into the mentors program to help the youngsters. And I help a lot of them give their time back. I helped a lot of them go home. You know, I helped a lot of them stay on track so they can go home. And even right now, today, a lot of them, they home and they call me. Like, you know, they call me if they going through something with their girl or their mama. They were like, man, you on it, bro, man. Da, 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 da. And, you know, I talk to them the same way I would as if we was, you know, locked up behind those walls.
Bro. So 2026, bro, like now I know you, you know what I'm saying? Jen, I'm just meeting you today. I know you got a passion for the arts, you know what I'm saying? You got a passion for
Yeah.
tattooing and drawing and painting and shit like that. So where did that shit come from? Is like how did that tie into you in your healing process and it, you know, with your mental and your emotional state after going through the hell that you've been through and living the way that you was living? Like how was that, or how, I guess I should ask, was that a therapy for you when you picked that up, or was
Like I
that just
said, I've
something
been
that you
drawing since
naturally
I
been
was
doing
7
your
years
whole life?
old. I discovered this gift when I was 7. Throughout my life, drawing, painting, I learned how to wood burn. It was like anything that was associated with art. It was like I already knew how to do it, you know, before I even done it. And that's how I acknowledge that it's a gift from a higher entity. This world, this art world that I go in, like this is the art world is my peace. The art world is my comfort. The art world is my love. And, you know, whether I'm tattooing, painting, you know, wood burning, glass etching, or even designing some new shoes or new clothing line apparel, whatever, or a logo, whatever it is. I go into my art and it puts me in a world, man, like it's just a divine world. You know, I can't even explain it to you, to be honest. I just know that, you know, I think that art is the greatest gift that anybody could have. And the reason why I say that is because anything before it's created, it has to be thought about and a prototype has to be created. And it's the same way like what God did with us, man, when he said, let us create, you know, man in our own image. And in order for him to create it, before he had to create it, he had to think about it and he had to create a prototype. You know what I'm saying? Whether Adam was the first man on earth or not, you know, he still had to create a prototype, you know, and once he created that prototype, he breathed the breath of life in it. And so that's why I feel like art is the greatest thing, the greatest gift to have, man, because you get to create things, you get to go in your own world and create things, and you get to bring it to this world and, you know, to show other people and what you could do.
So pop your shit, man. Tell the people about your business, man. Tell the people where, you know, where they can catch you, where they can, you know what I'm saying, follow you on social media, all that, bro. Let these people know where they can tap in with you. What's young? You all right? Look like we having some technical difficulties. Deen, that boy got some technical difficulties. But huh?
Yeah, I think he might have spilled his drink.
Yeah, he probably did. Nah, man, but that was 30 years is crazy, bro. 30 years is
Yeah, bro,
nuts,
that's a
bro.
long time, man.
Like how do you
30,
even,
yeah, absolutely.
you know, how you
Yeah.
bounce back from that, dog? Like mentally, like do you really, like, you think about this?
He told you.
If you
He
was in that
told. He just
position,
told you how he bounced back. God.
no,
Exactly.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about a regular civilian nigga. Like nigga just out the blue just snatch you off the streets and say like, hey, you did this, but I was cross town, but I don't have the money to fight this shit to prove where I was at. And then this nigga go to he's a witness for the state saying that I was somewhere that I wasn't. Say, brother.
I think at that moment, I think anyone will feel some sort of like betrayal. You know what I'm saying? I think as human beings, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like anyone, you're going to feel some type of betrayal. Imagine that somebody you know walk into a room, you know that something they did, even it's like in a movie, right? Right, Jay? Is in like in a movie, right?
New Jack City.
When we see in horror movies sometimes, there you go, boom, just like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You pulled it out me. I ain't
You
had
ain't
to
have
go
to go
around the
far.
world
You
explaining.
ain't have to
Boom,
go
it's right
far.
there.
Shit.
I ain't tripping. Jay got my back. I ain't
That's
worried.
crazy, dog.
You know what I'm saying?
Like being like, bro, like I said yesterday, bro,
Bruh.
that shit made me break out in. Like I start itching when you start talking about that type of shit, nigga. What? You nah,
Man.
Yeah, that's
brother. Hell
your
no.
family, your first
Because
cousin.
that
You
shit
don't you
like,
don't you don't expect that.
nigga, you my blood,
Yeah.
nigga,
Yeah.
and you doing this to
Yeah.
me? Nah, brother. That's some shit we gonna have to have a real conversation about. Cause when I get out after these 30 years, I ain't let none of that shit go. You better be dead gone and move to Florida. Cause I'm telling you, when I catch you, it's gonna be a fucking problem, bro.
Florida don't help because sometimes you be willing to jump on flights.
That is a fact.
All
That is a
right.
fucking
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then look, use the
Yeah,
clear
don't stop
port shit so
nothing.
you can go straight to the front of the line. Clear everybody
You know
out.
what I'm saying? At that point, listen, I'm paying to skip any and
The gun is
everybody
under
that's
the
a plane.
plane.
I don't
I'm
want
going under the look. The gun
man,
is under the plane in the lockbox, ready to go. Ain't no
man.
fucking way, sir. But you know what? That right there, dog, is like with kids, and I think with young people that's crashing out, like they don't understand. Like it don't take much to throw you away. It don't, especially black people. It don't take much for them to get away with anything, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they could throw you away and forget you about anything. You feel me? So it's like that mentality, bro, and the fear that must have ran through a nigga head when somebody come knock on your shit and tell you under arrest for robbery.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even there. I ain't got the money to post bond, and it's me and my little brother. So now I'm about to go into survival mode and protection mode. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to take everything that I can to get it off of him. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm about to take whatever y'all got on the books. Y'all say we did. Go ahead, give it to me so my little brother could go home, and I'll figure the
Absolutely.
rest of that shit out.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. But you
Nah.
also have to think about this too.
Go ahead, D.
Go ahead.
Nah, you got it, G. I've been waiting on you, man.
That
Mastermind,
nigga been
man.
quiet, huh?
Hey, bro.
I've been waiting on you to
I
jump in.
just
He
been
was sitting in the
chilling,
back
bro.
like a Jedi master, just like I'm waiting on my
I just
time.
been chilling. Nah, like I had a not the exact, but something similar. You know what I'm saying? Like I had and this is why I was in the military. I had bought a car off one of my battles, and he wound up coming to me and was like, "Hey, I need to borrow the vehicle to go move some stuff because it was a truck." I was like, "Bro, you just sold me this car, and I don't really feel comfortable with allowing you to use it." He was like, "Oh, it's gonna be real quick, no issues." So I told him no. Then our NCO, she came to me. She was like, "Look, I know he got all this other stuff going on, but do me the favor and let him borrow the truck." I said, "All right, if you want me to, I'll let him borrow it." So I let the dude borrow the truck. Mind you, this was like a Friday night. Let him borrow the truck. He was supposed to get the truck, pack his stuff up in the truck, take the truck to his location, and it was supposed to stay there. Saturday morning at like 2 o'clock in the morning, MPs and the local PD beating on my door, bro. I jump up, I go to the door. They like,
Damn.
you Bruce Jenkins? I'm like, yeah. And like, you need to come outside and we need to have a conversation.
Y'all can see me? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we
what's
got
going on?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
My device died, bro. I'm sorry.
I
Nah,
knew
you
it.
good.
I knew it.
Go ahead, Jay.
I knew it. But yeah, so the police, they like come out here. We need to have a conversation. I go out there. They like, where have you been tonight? Like, I've been in my room chilling. I don't know, I don't know what y'all want, what you looking for. They like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. I said, I said, we on post, so you could check the gate because they scan cards. You can check
Yeah, you can check
cameras. You can
your
check
badge.
whatever
Yeah,
you
they
want.
can.
This is where I've been the whole time. I said, I think my roommate, he wasn't there that night. I was like, this is where I've been the whole time. I said, I don't know what more I could do to prove it to you. So they was like, all right. So we sitting there, mind you, we still outside. I got on shorts and a tank top, and it's winter time in North Carolina. I'm out there freezing. They ain't put me in it. They ain't put me in the car yet. They call my NCO. She come over there and they're like, this the situation. Mr. Jenkins' car has been involved in a hit and run. I'm like, what? Hit and run? I said, this is my car over here. They said, well, do you own a truck? I said, yeah, I just purchased the truck. I was like, well, where is the truck at now? I don't know. I can't tell you where the truck is at. I said, the only person that could tell you where the
You ain't
truck
want
is at
snitch.
is you. But
Nigga didn't want
in
snitch.
all honesty, I didn't know where the truck was at. In all honesty, I did not know where the truck was at. I knew who
I
had
mean,
it,
that is
but
true,
I didn't know
but
where the truck was at. So what I told them was, I said, you can ask this NCO where the truck is at. She know, I don't know. So they had a conversation with her. They go to the location of the dude that had the truck. He playing off like he don't know what happened. And I'm sitting back. I'm like, nigga, If they come back, I told my NCO, I said,
Everybody
look, if they
going to
come
jail.
back, you gon' no, I'm not telling her. I told her, I said, you gonna have to tell them what's really going on. Cause I don't know that you asked me to do this. This is what you set up. So this is on you. You gonna have to figure this out. I ain't figuring it out. Because if I gotta figure it out, it's gonna be a big issue. So lo and behold, everything, bro, like it got swept completely under the rug, bro. But when I seen dude like two,
Believe it.
3 days later, I was tight. And we had a conversation. We had a conversation. We was on the back docks. We had a conversation, and I told him, I said, nigga, I'll punch you in your shit right now. Tell me what happened. And then he broke down with her. I said, bro,
ASAP.
I said, I said, bro,
ASAP.
if you was to do that, like okay, you did that, but nigga, call me and let me know, nigga. Don't do what you did. Don't leave the scene
Give me a heads up. Yeah.
and leave me. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, that shit ain't in your name no more. That shit in my name now. So now that you done had this, now and
Yeah.
I feel like I want to say that shit went on my my motherfucking my my report,
The
my
record?
driving record. Yeah, bro. Like, bro, like I said, bro, it was a whole situation, all because, and like I said, I specifically said no because I knew the nigga was gonna do some shit. But and I don't have no problem helping nobody, but nigga, no, I know you're not gonna be
You gotta watch
responsible
who you
for it,
help, though.
bruh. I said no. My NCO convinced me. She came to me, please, can you help? I wanted to ask her,
You
bitch, why
should
you
have
don't give
said
him your
no
truck
to
the keys to
her
your
ass.
truck and let that motherfucker go? I said no.
Should have
I'm
told that
done.
nigga
But
go to U-Haul, $29 a day. He could have got him a truck, did what he had to
right,
do. Fuck
hey,
all that.
back then it was probably
That's what
cheaper,
U-Haul
dog.
for, nigga.
It was probably cheaper back
Nigga.
then.
Not the U-Haul.
Man, fuck all that.
Yeah,
What, it's not even 29, it's $19. Nigga, you can rent a whole pickup. Yeah, that bitch the whole day. Go do your thing, son. What the fuck out of here, boy?
for real, bro.
All right, let's get back.
Yeah,
Keyone,
for
you
real.
back, brother. You back on your shit, bro. We was over here joked out at thinking about the shit that you've been through, dog. You hear me? So, and that shit just veered off into some.
I ain't hear the whole story, but that was a fire one. All I know is about the truck.
But we're gonna do it. We're gonna do an episode where we just talking about brag stories. Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah, man.
Some of
Them
them
for brag
we can't
stories,
put
bro.
on. We can't.
Yeah, some of them you can't put out there, but it is what it is.
We're gonna leave
Nah,
them where
but
they
Key,
at.
look, but let's get back. Let's get back. Facts.
I got you, brother. I got you, brother.
See, so look, just to get back to it, bro, like, because of the reason that I started the podcast and I brung these two in is because, man, we need to start having these conversations about black men, their mental health. You know what I'm
Most
saying?
definitely.
Denouncing the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like being real about what's real. You know what I'm saying? Like I just saw what his name is, Finesse 2 times, right?
Oh yeah.
He just posted a little thing on Instagram, and I really feel like this some real female shit, and I really like the mentality. He said if he get into a fight, and a nigga hit him harder than he can hit, he going to grab a gun. That's the type of shit that be like. This is the type of shit the kids get, right? These are the type of shit that they watch, that the entertainment. Like the last episode we was talking about, the trash that these kids intake 365 days a year. You know what I'm saying? Through social media, through the streets, through, the neighborhoods that they grew up. Because all kids ain't bad, bro. All kids don't
Most
need help.
definitely.
All kids are not outreach type kids. You feel me?
Mhm.
But him saying that will put the mentality into a kid. If they lose a fight, the best thing to do
Is to
is
go
go
grab
get
a
a
gun.
gun. You feel me?
Mhm.
And then when they end their ass up in Angola and a nigga taking their cornbread, niggas won't start crying like bitches. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But coming from somebody that been on that side of that fence, bro, like, how do you stop these kids from, I guess, how are you making yourself available to be the positive side of that shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, not perpetuating the bullshit, but telling them what that bullshit is about. Like, let me tell you what was really over here so you don't have to go over there.
Right.
You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Being a real OG in the street, being a real guy that somebody that got pulled in the streets that can help somebody go the opposite way. You know what I'm
Most
saying? So they
definitely.
don't have to put them boots on like you had to put on. You see what I'm saying? How does that help you, your mental, and your message to the youth? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it helps my mental because again, that positive entity, that voice, I've been following that voice, man, like for a long time. And ever since I've been following that voice, I never went wrong, right? So I take my experiences along with the knowledge that I obtain, and I also take in which, it turns into wisdom. But it only becomes wisdom when you give it back because
Mm.
when we pass, once this avatar body is done, we can't take nothing with us. We came in the world with nothing, so we're gonna leave with nothing. The only thing that we could take is the spirit that we was born with. So if we know that that's the only thing that we could take when we pass, then why not invest more into it? You know what I'm saying? If we invest more into the breath of life that God gave us, then we could do better things. And I also think that like when it comes to the youth is more important for them because right like it ain't even about us no more, bro. Like especially like when they say we have children, once we have children, it ain't about us no more. Like
Mhm.
it ain't got nothing to do with nothing no more. So what that means is it's our job now to lead. And if we don't have the knowledge and the understanding on how to lead, then we're gonna lead the youth right off a cliff. Then we're gonna be, you know, not a OG, but we're gonna be a stupid nigga, a stupid old ass nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Talk
Trying to
that
fit
talk.
in with these youngsters. You know what I'm saying? Trying to look good in front of them, for validation. But if as a grown ass man, me being 47, 46 years old, bro, and y'all are, and it's crazy, bro, because like all three of y'all niggas is under me as far as the age goes. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to teaching this new generation. That's what God was preparing me for whole time I was in prison. That's why I said that when it comes to my cousin, bro, I ain't even mad about that. I'm not mad about it because I understand that my journey had to happen. It had to happen. If you go back to the cliche quote, many are called, but few are chosen. The many that's
Mm.
called, all of them won't be chosen. So the people that's chosen, they have to make sure that they take care of their business, man, and do what God tell them to do. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
My my
Talk that
my
talk.
message for this new generation is to listen to the older generation only if they teaching you the right things. And you gonna know right from wrong. You know right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? We all know right from wrong. We all gonna know if somebody giving us some bullshit. Some people could talk good, but we gonna know when it's giving us some bullshit. If we don't know when somebody giving us some bullshit, then that means we disconnected from the higher power. And if we disconnected from the higher power, we will never be able to understand life. We will never be able to understand people. We will never be able to even understand ourselves. So so if we don't understand ourselves, then what can we give other people? We're gonna give other people ourselves. And if we don't understand ourselves, we're gonna give other people bad things. We're gonna become a part of that negative entity, I'm saying, that came to kill, steal, and destroy. So my option is that I wanna help. I wanna help. I don't wanna destroy nothing. I don't wanna tear nothing down. I don't wanna do none of that. I wanna help. And if I can help you, doesn't necessarily have to be money. It could be a conversation. It could be some advice. It could be, whatever it is. If I can help you, I'm gonna help you. And it's coming with no
I ain't gonna
strings
lie,
attached.
conversation can save your life, brother. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Conversation can as a I guess you there's gonna be like a safe space with me and my
Mm-hmm.
brothers. Which when it come down to it, bro, everybody on this podcast know what I've been through mentally. You know what I'm saying? So everybody on this podcast got their own mental health. Everybody got their own darkness. They deal with it differently. You know what I'm saying? Like I can only speak from my journey, bro, from where I'm at right now to you know what I'm saying, where I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blessed. You know what I'm saying? In so many ways. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't supposed to
I
be here
know it.
so many times. You dig?
I
So
know it.
when I look back and think about the shit that I've been through, bro, and then I'm not trying to compare because they always say you don't compare yourself to another man's, unless you're willing to walk into it, a mile in his shoes.
That's right.
But for me, 30 years is crazy. I'm gonna say it again, my nigga. That shit is bananas. You feel me? Like I mean, I don't know what y'all time schedule was, if it was 23 and 1, whatever it was. But waking up next to another nigga in the shoebox every day, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with a bunch of knuckleheads in this bitch that got fucked up mind frame because they got biblical numbers because nobody, hugged them enough in the street or told them the right way to move in the
That's
street
right.
to, do certain things, bro. And it's like, say, bro, like your story, bro, we probably gonna have to do a part 2, and get deeper and more detail
Oh,
of
that's
that
For
cool.
sure, for
journey,
sure.
bro. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
hey, listen,
Because
I'm cool with a part 2, man, because
yeah, man.
I think that anybody that's around my age and even like y'all, y'all at that age where, when you've been through a lot of the shit that all of us, all four of us done been through, you know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna take a couple of episodes, man, because it's gonna take a couple of books. It's gonna take a couple of books. And then
That's what this
and you also have to acknowledge, right? Like I haven't even heard too much of Deen. I haven't heard too much of Dawg, but I know that I know you and you know me, and I know that you not gonna just have no anybody, especially
no.
if they don't represent you. If they don't represent J Jack, you heard me? Then
I
I
don't deal
know
with
it's fake.
fakeness. I don't deal
I
with
know it's
fakeness at
fake,
all. And
and that's
like
what
I
I know.
said, dog, like these two dudes ain't done saved my life. You know what I'm saying? I mean that in a real way. Especially especially Jake. You know what I'm saying? Like, I met him when I went into the military. You
Hmm.
dig when shit got dark. But that's for another time. But these
I
dudes been
got you.
around me for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So they done been tested. You know what I'm saying? I done been in the mud. I done shed I done shed blood with these dudes, bro. These dudes done saw me at my best. They done saw me at my worst. So what we building with this podcast, bro, is really just trying to learn. We growing. You know what I'm saying? If you go back to the first episode was one of them things. Like, it was just one of them things. We just put it out there. You know what I'm saying? Just to get the butterflies out. Then we start growing and starting to get some
Most
structure with it. You
definitely.
hear me? So if
Most
you just let us
definitely.
keep cooking, let us keep cooking, let us keep having these conversations that nobody really want to talk about. Like I'm big on having conversations about
I'm
mental
done.
health, bro. I'm big on that. You hear me? I'm big on lifting the dudes that I got around me, lifting them up with me, and not trying to feel like I'm above them in no type of way. You feel
That's
me?
right,
So
bro.
that's what this podcast is for, bro. This podcast is we unplugged, we unfiltered. You know what I'm saying? And we speaking the truth, and we gonna talk about shit that's in the streets right now, and
Mhm.
we gonna call dudes out on their shit. You right, you right. You wrong, you wrong. You know what I'm saying? If you look
That's
like a flunk,
right.
we gonna tell you. You know what I'm
That's
saying? It
right.
is what it
That's
is.
right. That's
So
right. And
and,
but you know
and
what
we
though?
not looking for clicks.
And you know what though? What you just said, it gives substance to the title of your podcast.
Yeah, we
It's
unplugged,
Black
black
Men
men.
If we
Yeah,
listen, if we unplug, then that means that hey, listen,
you
it
about to
ain't for
take all
all
this.
viewers. It ain't for all viewers. But for the people that's present, or even if you're not present, if you know me, just like Dean and just like J Dawg, just like those brothers, our brothers, you know what I'm saying? They know you. They saw you at your highs, they saw you at your lows, they know what you've been through. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So and even me, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
I don't know the depths of it, but I know enough. I know
you
enough.
know enough to understand
I
how a
know
nigga move.
enough to understand and to let my brother Jarvis know, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, look, bro, ain't none of us perfect, right?
Mhm.
I think the thing that we have to understand in dealing with imperfection is not allowing ourselves to use imperfection as an excuse to continue to do the wrong shit.
Ooh, decisions.
Ooh, yeah,
Decisions. I just
absolutely.
said this on the
Yeah,
last
I like that.
episode, decisions. Cause we was
Yeah.
just talking about this shit about the black community, about decisions, about how niggas be making the wrong decisions to try to say their own ass and they fuck up
Mhm.
everything else. the trajectory. See, this is what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. This is the type of shit
Yeah.
that when it gets down to it, bro, decisions rule a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
30 seconds can fuck up your whole life.
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying? So it's like understanding that shit, bro. But like I said, we gonna have to do a part 2. But before we go, before we log off for the day, I want you to tell the people about, you know, the name of the business, man, what you do. You know what I'm saying? Get these people your social media, get these people your contact, let them know where they can go in and tap in with the tattoos, man.
Oh yeah. I'm at King_Rudy_Covell on Instagram. I'm under that same name on TikTok. You could catch me on Facebook, Messenger under Keyone Walker. In which that's my real name. My real name is Keyone, right? So
Don't tell nobody else that shit.
don't laugh at me, bro. But that's my real name, bro. Keyone Walker, bro. Keyone Walker.
Jarvis got his
But
motherfucking nerve.
you could catch me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Messenger. Those are the only platforms that I have. But when it comes to my tattoo work, man, I didn't lock it down, man, in the surrounding areas. I didn't lock it down. Like if you don't know me, you will get to know me, man. And you know something? I'm gonna say this before we go, right? The one thing that I learned about my art, and I think I said this earlier in the segment, was that my work is not valued by money. And I understand where my craft comes from. And so I know that as long as I continue to follow this voice, if I continue to follow this voice, and I know the difference between the negative and the positive one, you know what I'm saying? And if I continue to follow this voice, man, I know that I will be put in a situation or in a position to be able to help other people. And I think that I ain't gonna say I think, but I know that my purpose on this earth is to find my way back to God and to also help other people find their way back to God by helping. Like that's our
Oh,
ultimate purpose, is to find our way back to the person or the entity that created us. That's our ultimate purpose.
I just started that journey, brother. I just started that journey back into, you know, trying to get closer to God and understand it, bro. I joined church and everything. You know what I'm saying? Put my big boy jacket on, you dig,
Most
and really trying to get. But I'm proud of you, dog. Like let me say this, bro, before we go. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, every one of y'all. You know what I'm saying, for tapping it with me. You know what I'm saying, teaming up with me. You know I know this is something we building out the mud, bro.
Most
It
definitely.
mean a lot. It mean a lot to me. You know what I'm saying. But for you, K, bro, like I'm proud of you from your journey, bro. Like where you coming from to where you at, man. The father that you became. You know what I'm saying? Everything that the work that you done put in that nobody really know about. You know what I'm saying? The drama
Most
and the shit
definitely.
that the mud that you came out, you know what I'm saying? I was around your family before you came back in the picture. You
Hell
feel me?
yeah,
So,
bro. Yes, sir.
you know,
Yes, sir.
I was just being an uncle, you know what I'm saying, and just
Oh,
keeping
yeah.
shit in line. You know, while you was gone, when you came in and shit got better, I moved around. You
Yeah.
feel me? That wasn't my place to really, you know, take your spot. So I just moved up out the way. It really wasn't my spot in the beginning. It was somebody else there, but I was just, you know what I'm saying? I had more
Yeah.
this.
You was playing your position, you know. You
Yeah,
you
you know,
you
just
you was the
trying to
you
be
was
a
the wide
positive figure.
receiver.
Yeah, just trying to be a positive figure in the kid's life, man. But this has been episode number 4, bro. Like we did it. You know what I'm saying? We still doing it. We still got a lot to grow. We still got a lot of work to do. You dig? And I just, if you watching this, bro, like I said in the beginning, if you came back, welcome back. We appreciate your phone, guys. And this was another episode of Black Men Unplugged. And we out, bro. I appreciate y'all. Ooh, you dirty.
Yeah, Black Men Unplugged.